Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers from Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Part 10, on True Delight. Question to the Mother. How to learn the true delight? Mother. First of all, you must find out by close observation that desires and the satisfaction of desires gives only a vague pleasure, which is uncertain, mixed, fleeting, and altogether unsatisfactory. That is generally the starting point. Then you must learn to distinguish what is desire, and not only refuse to do anything for its satisfaction, but reject it categorically. After a time, more or less long, sometimes very short, you find out, as the Buddha did, that the joy you experience in mastering and overcoming a desire is infinitely greater than the little transient and mixed pleasure you may get by satisfying it. And that is the second step. Naturally, with such continuous discipline, desires will be kept at a distance, and they will trouble you no more. You will be free then to enter a little more deeply into your being, and open yourself in an aspiration towards the giver of delight, the divine element, the divine grace. If this movement is done in a sincere self-giving, that is to say, if you give yourself, if you offer yourself without expecting anything in return, you will feel then a kind of warmth that is sweet, intimate, radiating, that fills your heart and is the forerunner of the true delight. Afterwards, the way is easy. I must add, however, that if you follow this discipline with the aim of finding the delight, you will delay its coming, for you introduce into your effort an egoistic element. It is no more an offering, it is a demand. Naturally, the thing comes. It will come all the same, but after much more time and much more effort than when nothing is asked for, nothing expected, nothing hoped for. When it is simply a pure self-giving, without bargaining of any kind, when it is a spontaneous aspiration and need, the need of being divine. That is all. Question to the Mother. But when Sri Aurobindo speaks of an existence multiplying itself solely for the delight of being, what delight is meant? Mother. The very thing I am speaking of, the delight of existing, Ananda. There comes a time when one begins to be ready. One may feel everywhere, in each thing, in each movement, in each vibration, not only in consciousnesses and beings, not only in trees and plants and all that lives, but in all things that are about you, in an object that you handle, simply this delight of being, being just what you are, simply to be. You see, everything vibrates. You touch a thing, and you feel this joy. But for that, it is well understood, you must have followed the discipline of which I spoke just now. Because as long as you have a desire, a preference, an attachment, affinities and repulsions, as long as you still feel what is called pleasure, vital or physical pleasure, you cannot feel the divine delight. You cannot. And yet, in some very subtle form, it is there everywhere, in everything. A moment comes when this perception becomes quite familiar to you. You move in the midst of things. It is as if all chant their delight. Naturally, I must recognize that it is a little more difficult to see this delight in man, because all his mental and vital formations come into the field of perception and disturb it. There is in him too much of an egoistic harshness that is mixed up in everything. In the animal it is already more facile, but in the plants and flowers, in the whole vegetable kingdom, it is so marvelous. Everything speaks and expresses its delight. When you perceive that, you have touched the true delight, the divine Ananda. And this perception depends upon nothing, neither on external circumstances nor any more or less favorable condition. It is a communion through things with the motive for existence of the universe. And that comes and fills all the cells of the body. It is not anything that thinks. You do not reason. You do not analyze. It is a state in which you live. And the body is so fresh, so spontaneous. There is no longer any turning on oneself, no sense of self-observation, self-analysis, or analysis of things. There is in it a hymn of vibrations, as it were, glad but very quiet, without violence, without passion. It is very subtle and very intense at the same time, and the whole universe seems to be a wonderful harmony. Even what is ugly, unpleasant for the ordinary human consciousness, appears to be marvelous. Unfortunately, this state of delight cannot be permanent because of the influx of all mental and vital formations that intervene from outside and disturb it. Then one is compelled to return to the normal perception, this perception of things so ignorant, so blind. But otherwise, as soon as the external agitation ceases, everything changes. Everything. You perceive nothing but a wonderful harmony, the delight, the true delight, the divine Ananda.